Okay, students, let's go ahead and continue rolling on our assignment. All right, so if we're looking at our sheet, there is a lot of information on here. I wanted you guys to fill out the event handler, the flow chart, the code trace, and then I wanted you to talk a little bit about each of your event handlers. Now, you can put them all up here if you want to. This document has got a lot more information on it that I don't expect you to do, largely due to the fact that I'm just trying to make notes for myself. We are currently working on lesson 9. So if I scroll down to lesson 9, bear with me for just a minute. All right. So lesson 9, this has to do with adding a timer and a start button. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and make this as big as I possibly can. All right, so for the timer and the start button, our design requirement and criteria is when the start button is clicked, a timer will count down from 30 and end when the game gets to 0. The components needed are a button, start button, a label, timer label, and a clock. Okay. All right, so to update the user interface, we need to insert a horizontal arrangement into horizontal arrangement 1. So I'm going to move this over, okay, and I'm going to open App Inventor, okay. All right, and what we're going to do is we're going to insert a horizontal arrangement into horizontal arrangement 1, okay. So if we look at this, we can minimize these so we can see just what we have, because it's getting to be pretty big. Horizontal arrangement 1. You're going to bring in a horizontal arrangement right here, okay, and we're going to call that's going to be called horizontal arrangement 2. So you're going to go into your layout, you're going to bring out a horizontal arrangement, and what you're going to do is you're going to put it down here in the scroll. You're going to put it right over here, okay. All right, and this one right here. All right, so I've already done that. So inside of that horizontal arrangement, which is right here, what I want to do is I want to set a few things. I'm going to set the width to automatic, and I'm going to set the height to fill parent, so it fills this up, okay? All right, then I'm going to insert a label into the new horizontal arrangement, okay? So inside of this horizontal arrangement, I'm going to go to Layout, User Interface, and I'm going to click on the label, and I'm going to put it right over here, okay? All right, I'm going to rename that to Timer Label. All right there. All right. What I'm going to do is I'm going to set my font to font bold, my font italic. I'm going to set my height to 24. I'm going to set my height to automatic. I'm going to set my width to automatic. In my text, I'm going to write timer :space 30, and I'm going to set my color to red. And as you can see, that's what I have right there. Okay. All right. So now we also want to insert a button into the table arrangement 1. So if I shrink this down and I look at the table arrangement, I'm going to insert a button into this arrangement down here off to one side over here in the first column. All right. Then I'm going to place it in the first column. I'm going to rename it Start Button. Okay. I'm going to set the font to bold. Font to bold. I'm going to set the width to 25%. I'm going to set the I will let the height stay automatic. I'm going to set the shape to rounded, and I'm going to write start in the text. Okay, so that gives it the start button. All right, so that takes care of that. All right, all right. So now, what we want to do, we need to add a clock. Okay, so we're going to go over into our sensors, down to our sensors, and we're going to click on clock, and we're just going to drop it somewhere in the middle of our thing. Now I already have one, so I'm going to delete that second clock out. Okay, all right, and in our clock we want to make sure that timer enabled is not cut on. Okay, so let's see, I'm going to add something to this. I'm going to insert a row below. We're going to insert a clock from sensor, from the sensors drawer, and we are going to make sure timer enabled is unchecked. Okay, so you're hearing me say these things. So what I've done is I wrote this on my list. So what I'm going to do is I am going to allow you to make sure that you have these things done. You inserted a horizontal arrangement into horizontal arrangement 1. You set the height to fill parent, the width to automatic. Okay. Then you inserted inserted a label into the horizontal arrangement 1, and you placed it to the right, all the way to the right. You renamed it timer label. You set the font to bold. You set the font to italic. You set the font size to 24. You set the height to automatic, the width to automatic. The text you wrote timer colon space 30, and then you set the text color to red. All right. You inserted a button into the table arrangement, placed it in the first column. You renamed it to the start button. You set the font to bold. You set the width to 25%. You set the shape to rounded. You set the text to start. Okay? So you type start in the text. Okay? Okay. You inserted the clock from the sensors drawer, and the only thing you changed was timer enabled is unchecked. So if I move this back over here, you can look, see that's done. You got your start button information. Okay. Under your horizontal arrangement, you've got your timer label filled out with those correct settings. You can pause the video and make sure everything's right. And in your horizontal arrangement, you have those things set. All right. That's a good job. Okay. All right. All right. So, continuing. All right. So now what we want to do is talk about what's going to happen. So I'm going to pull this back over. Okay. All right. So, decrementing the score. The logic being used in the start button event handler. What we want it to do. Clock 1 is enabled. We're going to set the clock 1 timer label to true. And we're going to set the canvas to visible. Set canvas 1 visible to true. Alright, so what we want to do is we're going to move this over, and we're going to make these changes in our blocks. So we want to go to blocks, and we want to go up here. Okay, now I've already got this done, but I'm going to show you the blocks that you're going to use. So you're going to go to start button, which is under table arrangement. Okay, Let's see. Bear with me for just 1 second. Okay, students. All right, so if we look over here in our system over here, some of these things were collapsed. All right, so I want to look at screen 1. I can close my canvas so I don't have as much to look at. I want to go down to table arrangement. And in the table arrangement, what I want to do is click on start button. So I'm going to bring out when start button clicked. Okay. Now, of course, this one is done because they're both red because now I have 2 of them. So then I'm going to go to clock and I'm going to go down to set clock 1 enabled. So I'll bring that in. All right. And I'm going to go up to my built-ins. I'm going to go to logic and I'm going to bring over a true. Okay. Now what that's going to do is that's going to start the clock when I hit the start button. All right. Then I'm going to go to canvas. Okay. All right. And under canvas, what I want to do is I want to click set canvas 1 to visible. So I'm going to go down to canvas visible. I'm going to put this in and I'm going to go to logic and I'm going to set that to true. Okay. So what I have is set clock 1 timer enabled to true, start the timer, and make sure that the canvas is visible. And that is, so I can put this one on the trash. So this is my first sets of blocks. Okay. All right. All right. Next, what I want to do is do my clock. So I'm going to go down to my clock and I'm going to say when clock 1 timer is enabled. Okay. So I'm going to stick this guy right here. All right. So the first thing I want to do is I've got to establish a clock timer. So I'm looking at this, but I'm working on these blocks. So I'm going to go up to variable, and I'm going to do I want to do initialize. Bring that out, and I want to create a variable called initialize global. And what I want to do, if I pull this down, all right, I will say time left. I'll type that in. Okay. All right. So that is, I have to create that variable and I have to set that value at 30. So that initializes the time to start at 30. And I need it to say time left. Okay. Now I'm going to get an error because I already have that right down here. Initialize global time left to 30. Okay, so it made it number 2. So I've got that one. Okay. All right. So that initialized that variable called time left. All right. All right. So now, what's the next thing we're going to do? All right. Well, the clock starts a countdown of 30. All right. So I've got to set it to decrement. Okay. So I'm going to go to variable and I'm going to say set global time left. Okay. Set global time left. All right. And what I want to do is I'm going to use a math block and I'm going to decrement it like that. And then I'm going to go to my variables box and I'm going to say get time left, global time left. And then I'm going to do a math block, and I'm going to subtract by 1. So that's going to count down by 1. Okay. All right. Next, I want to update that score. So I'm going to go down to time label, and I'm going to get me a set timer label text. Set timer table to text, and I am going to use under text, I'm going to tell it to join. Okay, and I want it to join an empty text string. Okay, and it's going to say timer colon space. All right, and then we're going to join that with the variable of get global time left, and that joins those two together. Okay, so that takes care of that part, and we have this first part already done. So then what we're going to do, we're going to need to use a control structure. If then, all right, if then, what we're going to do is we're going to get our global time left. It's going to look at our global, oops, I'm sorry. We're going to do a math block. And we're going to say get the global time left. All right. And we're going to do a math block. And if that equals 0, what do I want it to do? Okay. What it's going to do is it is going to set our global time. So it's going to go here. It's going to set our global time. Hang on just 1 second. Okay. So once we do that and it equals to 0, we're not going to do this right now. Sorry about that. I got out of sequence. What we're going to do is we're going to set clock 1, timer enabled. Set clock, timer enabled. And we're going to go up to our logic, and we're going to set that to false. So the timer is now going to stop. Then what we're going to do is we're going to go to our canvas, and we're going to do our set canvas visibility. We're going to set that to false. So what's going to happen, you'll compare these two right here. All right. And you want to make sure you have these set just like this. Okay. So I'll set this back down here. And then this guy I'm just going to delete out because I don't need 2 of them. All right. So now what's next? All right. So now we want to go to the reset button. All right. So in the reset button, we're going to do set global time left to 30. So variables. All right. Set global time left. So this resets the time. Okay. All right. All right. We got that. All right. Then what we want to do is we're going to go to set timer label text. This is under timer label. Set timer label text. All right. And what we're going to do is we're going to go to our text feature, and we are going to join these two together. All right, and we're going to do our text, and we are going to type right in here, timer. All right, and then we're going to go to our variable drawer, and we're going to say get global time left, and that's going to join these two together. All right, then we're going to go back to our canvas and set canvas visibility. And we're going to go to logic, and we're going to set that to true. Okay? All right, and what we're going to do is we're going to put all of this underneath that in the reset button. It's going to fall in on the bottom of this. So since I've already got it, I'm going to stick this right here. Okay? All right. So that's good. So we got that done. All right. And that should be all you need to do to complete part 9. All right. So we will zoom out so we can see we added all the blocks. Don't forget that we do have to create that variable called initialize global time left to 30. You have to do that so that it starts. So we'll zoom out. We'll get everything kind of set up. We're going to go to projects, save project so we don't lose what we got. And then I'm going to do a video showing you this being tested. Good job, students.